You're born. It's cold, it's wet, and you're lying in a pile of mud. Your mom sniffs you, maybe nudges you with her nose for good measure, and then moves on like this is just another Tuesday. She doesn't really care about you, or at least you think so. You stand up because apparently that's what you're supposed to do. And congratulations, you're a moose. Your mom is already walking off. You follow her because, as far as you know, she's the only thing keeping you alive. She doesn't slow down, doesn't wait, and definitely doesn't look back. This is parenting, moose style. Life quickly becomes a game of trial and error. Your mom teaches you how to eat plants, which mostly means you follow her around and copy what she does. Leaves? Sure, they'll do. Twigs? Not great, but they work in a pinch. Water plants? That's the good stuff. But only if you're willing to stick your head into freezing water and hope for the best. You chew, swallow, and move on. No questions asked. One day, while you're busy chewing on a bush, a bear jumps out of the bushes. It's not just watching. It's already swinging a massive paw right at your head. You stumble backward, and the swipe misses you by what feels like a hair. You freeze, your legs won't move, you don't run, you don't fight, you just stand there thinking, well, this is how it ends. Then your mom appears, charging at full speed. She crashes into the bear like a battering ram. The bear falls back, but it doesn't give up. It swipes at your mom, and the two of them clash, biting and stomping at each other. You just stand there useless, watching your mom fight for both your lives. Eventually, the bear decides it's not worth it. It retreats into the bushes, leaving your mom stomping the ground to make sure it's gone. You're still frozen in place, staring at the spot where you almost died. Your mom gives you a look like she's annoyed you didn't move, and then goes back to eating. You follow, legs shaking, realizing for the first time that out here, you're not just alive, you're prey. By summer, you've got the basics down, or at least you think you do. You follow your mom everywhere, eating whatever green stuff she eats, and staying far away from anything with sharp teeth. It's a simple plan. Stick close, do what she does, and hope for the best. Then comes marsh foraging, which is just a fancy way of saying, walk into the mud, stick your face in the water, and hope you don't drown. Your mom walks right in, dunks her head, and pulls up a mouthful of slimy plants like it's no big deal. You try to copy her, but your first attempt gets you a mouthful of water and a nose full of mud. She doesn't care. She just keeps eating while you splutter and figure it out. After a few tries, you manage to grab something that looks like food. It's slimy, it smells weird, and it tastes even worse, but you swallow it. Congrats, you're officially not starving. It's not just the mud that's annoying. Summer brings all kinds of new problems. Bugs swarm your face every time you stop moving. Fish nibble at your legs when you walk through the water, and the heat is unbearable. You're basically wearing a fur coat all day. Your mom? She doesn't even notice. She's too busy scanning the trees for predators. You stick close to her, figuring she knows what she's doing. She hasn't been eaten yet, so she's probably right. Fall arrives, and suddenly, the forest feels like a moose soap opera. Big bulls with enormous antlers show up, stomping, grunting, and acting like they own the place. Your mom avoids them, but you're stuck following her through all the chaos. The bulls don't just grunt, they fight. One minute, you're trying to chew on some leaves, and the next, two giant moose are smashing their antlers together like it's a competition to see who can break theirs first. Your mom doesn't seem impressed. She just keeps walking, ignoring the noise like it happens every day. Sometimes, the bulls get too interested in your mom. When one gets a little too close, she charges at him, snorting like she's had enough of his nonsense. He stumbles back, rethinks his choices, and moves on. Meanwhile, you're just trying to keep up, wondering why everything suddenly feels so dramatic. Winter shows up like it's got a personal vendetta against you. The lush green forest you spent all summer chewing on is now a frozen wasteland, and every meal feels like digging through a freezer. Food? Buried under layers of snow and ice. You spend your days following your mom, nose to the ground, desperately scraping at the snow to find twigs, bark, or anything even remotely edible. You're always hungry, and every bite feels like it costs more energy than it gives. The cold doesn't let up. Sure, your coat has thickened, but it's like wearing a thin jacket in a blizzard. Better than nothing, but nowhere near enough. You sleep in the snow because, well, where else are you going to go? You curl up in a ball and hope your body doesn't freeze solid overnight. When you wake up, you shake off a layer of frost, chew on whatever frozen green stuff you can find, and repeat the process. Every day feels the same. Cold, miserable, and exhausting. And here's the kicker. You're a male moose, so life isn't just about surviving the winter. It's also about getting big. The bulls you saw in the fall, smashing antlers, that's your future. And right now, your future isn't looking great. You're supposed to be eating enough to grow stronger and eventually grow a massive set of antlers. Instead, you're chewing on bark and wondering if this is the day you die from exhaustion. The odds aren't in your favor. Predators are still out there too, waiting for you to screw up. Wolves stalk the forest, looking for the weakest moose in the group. You do your best to keep moving and avoid looking like the easy option, but when your stomach's empty and your legs feel like lead, running away doesn't sound very doable. Your mom still keeps watch, but even she can't protect you forever. When you hit your first birthday, congratulations, you're officially on your own. Not because you're ready, but because your mom has decided she's had enough of you. She's off to have another child, and you're not part of the plan anymore. You follow her confused, but eventually she disappears into the trees. That's when you realize she's not coming back. You've been replaced by a sibling who hasn't even been born yet. Just amazing. You stand there for a while trying to figure out what just happened. You've been abandoned. The one moose who kept you alive through all those bear attacks, blizzards, and wolf-filled nights is gone. You look around, hoping she will come back, but she never does. Happy birthday, I guess. As a bull, your priorities shift immediately. The first one? Don't die. The second? Start growing antlers. That's easier said than done. You don't have the size or strength to fight off predators or rival moose yet, so you spend most of your time sneaking around, eating whatever you can and trying not to get noticed. Wolves are your biggest problem now. They know you're weak, they know you're alone, and they're always watching. You learn to spot their tracks, listen for their howls, and run at the first sign of trouble. Not that running always works. You're clumsy and not nearly as fast as you think you are. Then there's the other bulls. At first you try to avoid them, but eventually you have to start figuring out where you stand. This usually involves some awkward sparring matches with other young bulls. You lock your little antlers together and hope you don't embarrass yourself too much. These fights aren't serious yet, but they are a preview of what's coming. Some time has passed, and now it's mating season. You've grown, you've bulked up, and you're ready to mate. Or at least you think you are. You've got antlers, you've got the drive, and you've spent the last year preparing for this moment. But mating as a bull moose isn't as simple as just showing up. First, you have to prove you're better than every other bull in the area, and the only way to do that is by fighting. You find your first opponent, a bull roughly your size, and you square up. Your antlers lock and you push with everything you've got, and for a few seconds it actually feels like you might win. Then he twists his head, throws you off balance, and sends you crashing sideways into a bush. He doesn't stop there. He shoves you again, this time pinning you against a tree for good measure. You stumble away, sore, embarrassed, and very much cowless. But giving up isn't an option. This is mating season, and bulls don't quit. So you try again. Fight after fight, you get a little smarter, a little stronger. Eventually, after what feels like an eternity of bruises and exhaustion, you win a fight. You shove your opponent just hard enough that he stumbles and walks away. As your reward, you get a harem of cows. Great, right? Except now the real work begins. Other bulls start showing up, grunting, stomping, and challenging you for your cows. You don't get to relax, not even for a minute. Every new challenger means another fight, another round of antler smashing, and another chance to lose everything you just won. Meanwhile, the cows, they barely notice you. They're too busy grazing or ignoring you altogether, treating you like background noise. You're out here defending them with your life, and they couldn't care less. You don't even get a thank you. By the end of the season, you're a wreck. You're starving, bruised, and barely standing. But hey, you survived. Congratulations. Mating season is over. Now, try to recover before winter shows up and ruins your life all over again. Skip forward a bit, and you've survived another winter. The snow is gone, and the worst feels like it's behind you. You've even managed to hold on to your little harem of cows through the rut and the cold. For once, you let yourself relax. Then something catches your eye. Movement in the bushes, just beyond the clearing. It could be anything. Your instincts kick in, and you step away from the herd to investigate. You're not worried. You're a bull moose, and there's nothing in these woods you can't handle. You move closer to the bushes. Suddenly, a deafening crack rings out, and there's a sharp, burning pain in your neck. You stumble backward, your legs unsteady, and feel something warm dripping down your fur. You want to run, but you don't. You're a bull moose, and this is your forest. You lower your head, blood dripping from your wound, ready to charge. Before you can take a step, there's another crack. This time, there's no pain, no sound, no anything. Your legs fold, your body hits the ground, and everything goes dark. The hunter walks over, standing above your lifeless body as your antlers sink into the dirt. You don't know it, but your story ends here. Not in a blaze of glory, not in old age, but with 2 loud cracks in a forest that doesn't care how far you've come. Life as a moose might be rough, but there's another animal out there that has it way worse. Trust me, it's wild. Check out the video and see for yourself.